Hello, students, and welcome to What Does This Mean? Version for algebra. We have had a student ask to write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the point 2, -2, and is parallel to the line of y equals -x minus 2. What does all of that mean? I'll bring you to board number 2 here to explain. So if we break that down into let's just break down that sentence. So we'll take the first part. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. All right. Well, what does slope-intercept form mean? Well, it is right here. This is going to be the exact same every single time you see this form. You're going to use this matrix or this, equation. Okay, so let's write that down on the bottom since we know our answer is going to be in something that is y equals m and b are your two variables that are changing. So let's mark that in red just because that's a caution. We're going to change that up. So we'll say, okay, we don't know what the m is quite yet. And we don't know what the b is quite yet. All right. But we do know that the y equals mx plus b is our general formula, knowing that the variables can change. Okay, cool. So what we know x, we know y and x. We know that's a constant in this equation. So what is the m and the b? So m is slope. So that is, if you have your y-axis that is straight up, your slope is going to be, this angle, which can otherwise be defined as your rise over run. So if you have rise, run, kind of like a stairway. Okay, so m is designating where your slope is going to get inserted into the equation. The slope, if you don't remember, we have it written down here as rise over run. Okay. Then we're going to look at the b. So a b is where you're running into the y-axis. So if we were to just draw an example of that, we have an interaction with the y-axis right here and right here. So that's just where those lines are crossing the axis designated as the y-axis, up and down. Okay, so that's our first part of the question. Let's go to the second part. For the line that passes through the point of 2, -2. Oh, that's lucky. It looks okay. So let's look at where that point is. All right, so first we have to know what coordinates are and what they mean. So right underneath this, I've written x, y. And that's just letting you know the first one is the x coordinate and the second one is the y coordinate. Again, that is a constant. That will never change for the placement of those variables. Okay, so if we go to the x-axis, we always start in the center. 0, 0 would be the coordinates for this. And we're going to go 2 in the positive direction. So if you remember your number line, positive things go to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2, and we get ourselves right here on this x-axis. And then we're going to go -2. So we're going to go down 1, 2. So we get a plot point here at 2, -2. Okay, there you are. Now, we'll move to the third point. And is parallel to the line of y equals -x minus 2. Okay, so what does it mean to be parallel? Well, when I drew in those yellow lines, I roughly drew them parallel because they are looking like this, and we know it kind of looks like a railroad track, right? Well, we know those two lines on a railroad track are always parallel because the wheels on the train don't ever vary in width. So parallel means they're going to run side by side and they're never going to cross. So another thing about that would be parallel, we can then deduce lines have the exact same, remember this angle? It's called the slope. So they have the exact same slope. Okay. So all this last part is saying is, oh, parallel just tells you that you're going to take whatever variable is grouped with x, and you're going to carry that to your new problem, because being parallel to that line would mean that it has the same slope, and we've designated the slope as the m variable, and that's the variable that is connected to the x. So all we got to do for that last part is just transfer the -1 variable that's there. You can leave the 1 out. You don't need to have it. That's a -1 slope. And then, so I'd said over here, it's rise over run. So just if you don't know, you could take your calculator and test it. Take any number and divide it by 1, and it's going to be itself. And for this problem, if we rewrote m as a fraction, we'd say -1 over 1. So that's going to tell you the rise is a -1 and the run is a +1. So if we start at that origin point again where we did, and we go down 1 over 1, we get here, and down 1 over 1 again, we get to the point we're looking for. So that is our line that we want. And that is intersecting the y-axis at 0. So our b value is going to be 0. So that's how you are converting a line that you only know a point and something it's parallel to. You can go to that point, find the slope, go -1 over 1. So if we start, 0 here. Start at your point, follow the slope, 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over, until you find your y-intercept, which is 0. So we could simplify our answer today to be y equals -x. And that was a little bit longer video today, folks, but hopefully that helps explain every single part of this problem, and that you can use this tutorial for all sorts of problems like this one with different numbers. Happy studying.